What's going on, everybody? I got another movie review for you today. Today's going to be a very special occasion. That's why I'm dressed up in a white button-up shirt and a vest. And the special occasion is this. The fact is, one of my subscribers reached out to me. His name is Scott Stark. His YouTube channel is Stark Ventures. You guys should go check him out. He's got some pretty cool stuff on there. He makes short films. He does a lot of experimentation, and I love to see that. And he reached out and asked me to review the film that he and his crew made. And this film is called Ascendence 3, Atonement. And first of all, before I get into the review, Scott, if you're watching this, I just want to let you know that I'm impressed with what you were able to do here. First of all, because I personally understand what it's like to try to make a short film or a couple of short films or a bunch of projects when you're a one-man band. Because I saw, when it comes to the credits, it's your cinematography, your direction, your editing, all that stuff. And a lot of it I was impressed by and I actually enjoyed. And I am going to be honest right up front, there is a lot of stuff I thought could have been improved, but hopefully through this review, through what I'm able to say, hopefully you'll be able to get some tips and tricks that you can use for your next venture and your next project. But I want to get right into the story because honestly, guys, although I do have my problems with Ascendance 3 Atonement, as far as a short film goes, because this film is about an hour long, I think it's fairly impressive, and I think there is a lot of stuff that can be done to improve it, but I do think it is worth a watch at least once. But if you guys want to know what Ascendance 3 Atonement is about, so Ascendance 3 Atonement is essentially in a futuristic setting where instead of, say, like drugs or alcohol or some other form of trading fodder, people trade cybernetics. And cybernetics are, they're essentially a drug that can give people superpowers or make them stronger or give them laser vision or what have you, or teleporting. They pretty much alter you so you become more powerful, and you can either use that for good or for evil. And that was one of the coolest things that I noticed and I'm not going to give any more of the story than that because I think this is a story that you should go into without really knowing much about it, because that makes it better in my opinion. I didn't know much about it. I got a lot of enjoyment from it. Now, the positives of this. The story, like I said, really unique, really original. I really enjoyed seeing it. And plus, the cinematography in here, for the equipment that Scott has, which I'm not sure what that is, but as far as a one-man band shooting on location type thing for a short film, this is fairly impressive. I enjoyed the cinematography because there was it looked like there was a lot of knowledge behind the camera of how to move the camera so you get interesting shot positions and all that good stuff. And also, like I said, cinematography, story, there are also two pretty decent performances in here. Scott Stark, he plays a character named Davey, and he's pretty much I describe him as the Charles Xavier of this world because he essentially is. He's a wise man who wants to do nothing but better society. And he's got some own powers of his own from the cybernetics. And Scott, your performance, it was pretty darn good. And then there was another guy who I believe is hands down gives the best performance in the entirety of this film. And that is somebody who plays, I don't know, I'm not particularly sure the actor's name, but the character's name is Axel. The guy who plays Axel in this short film, by far in my opinion, hands down, gives the best performance. And whenever he was on screen, I was super excited to see what he was going to say, what he was going to do. He was just a really, really intriguing character. He's obviously a character with a lot of damage, and overall, I just thought he was a great character. The guy gave a great performance, so hats off to him. Now, next up, those are all my positives with this film, and now this is where I'm going to get into my advice and my cons with the movie. Number 1 and 2, choppy editing and story progression. There were several points in this film where my main problem with the editing, a lot of it was pretty seamless. I thought it was enjoyable for the most part from my eyes, but there was also some transitions from scenes to scene where it would just either cut straight to black or fade into black and move into the next scene. Sometimes that felt a little jarring. It caught me off guard in not the best way possible. And also, when it comes to the story progression, sometimes characters would flip and flop emotions. I feel they didn't really grow appropriately. at a certain point in this film, it looks like two characters are going to fall in love, but for me personally, it felt like them falling in love. I didn't exactly buy it, and after such a short period of time, it felt rushed. Like, building the love that these two characters were going to have for each other, it felt like it went way too quickly, way too fast. I didn't really buy that it was actually building into a relationship. Sure, there were some questions that they asked one another to grow that relationship, but for me personally, it was just way too quick. And that also has to deal with the runtime in here. Honestly, for me personally, I feel this is one of the times where I say if there was a half an hour added onto this story, it might have been better. Then again, I'm not sure if that's the case, because although I believe that the guy who played Axel and Scott Stark gave the best performances of this entire film, every other performance in here, no offense to the actors, but it's just not good. Like, the way they were portraying emotions, the way they delivered dialogue, the way they were trying to get across their message in the film or get across their performances, it felt very much like a college student film. It felt very... The way the lines were delivered, I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy any of the emotions. I didn't buy any part of the story that these actors were in. And it's not that the story wasn't good and I wasn't intrigued. That's not it at all. Like I've already established, the story in here is very interesting. It's very, very well done. I enjoyed the story, but the way that most of the actors in here portrayed the story and decided to act it out, it didn't seem realistic to me, and it felt like they were reading off of a teleprompter, or they just got done reading their lines and then went to shoot. And honestly, it took a lot of the enjoyment out of the film for me. And there's definitely some improvement that can be done there. Also, the pacing. Along with the story progressing, the pacing in this was very off, because the first and second act, I was intrigued all the way through. Then something happens. Something really intense happens towards the end of the second act of this thing, and after that point, I just completely lost interest, because it seemed like all the interesting aspects of the film were gone, and was just a moving point of what was going forward. And I sadly lost interest. All right, and now we're coming to the end of my review. So Scott, if you're watching this, and I hope you are, I want to tell you once again that although I have a lot of problems with the movie, the stuff that you have that I loved, I thought was extremely good. And I think you have a lot of really good material here. It just needs to be polished up. There are things to like about this film, but me personally, although I did get enjoyment out of it, I don't necessarily think I can recommend it for anybody else. So Scott, I am so sorry I have to say this, but Ascendance 3 Atonement, stay in your shorts. I'm honest to a fault here on my channel, and as I'll say over and over again, Scott, you've got some good stuff here. Keep working on that. Come back. Maybe, just maybe, the next project will be even better than this one, and I have faith that it will be. But, guys, for all of you who are watching this review, thank you. I know I went a little bit longer than I generally go on my channel and on my reviews, but thank you so much for showing up. Like I said, this is a subscriber fan-made, or not fan film, it's a subscriber feature-length film that is just okay in my opinion. But thank you to everybody for showing up. And of course, no questions here, guys, but I just want to let you guys know that if you want to contact me, if you want me to review your film, or you just want to talk to me in general, all my social media links are up there. And of course, if you want to see more movie reviews that I've done, click right up there at the top of the screen. There's a link to that and the podcast that me and Zach spoke to, where we talk about movies on the surface layer. And in an even deeper function, click right there to the link to the Sweet Film Podcast. And as always, guys, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.